Olivia Christian making her long-awaited return here to D-Lo and KC. I'm pretty sure she was just about to complain about something in Los Angeles, though. So I don't want to interrupt that. So what do we got? What are we complaining about?
Well, there's a long list, honestly. The beeping of the construction across the street is driving me a little insane. And I'm sorry if you can hear it because it's super loud today. But more importantly, I feel like I'm in Sacramento in terms of temperature. I know you guys are going through it. It's ridiculously hot here. But more than that, it's so it's like being in the South right now. It's sticky. It's humid. It's just like everybody is miserable. It's unbelievable. I can't take it. I miss San Francisco so much.
Is the city like going crazy right now? Is there a huge buzz because the hometown Rams are looking to start their journey for a repeat? Are they just going crazy? Is it blue and yellow everywhere right now?
Absolutely not. There is a hotel near my house that has a Chargers flag out there, but they also have a bunch of NFL team flags out there. So no, I definitely don't see the kind of love for the Chargers that you would think would be happening right now.
Oh, there's never any love for the Chargers, but the Rams, not having any love for the Rams is
the Rams Chargers. It's the same. It doesn't matter.
No one, because no one's ever going to love either one of them. Like if the Rams, Kenny just brought up this point a minute ago with Buffalo coming to town tonight, and it's like if you can't rally after winning the Super Bowl, it ain't for you. Like the LA is just not a football city. If y'all can't rock after winning the Super Bowl, it just ain't meant to be.
Not a professional football city, anyway.
It's not a Rams Charger city.
Right. It's definitely not Chargers. The Chargers have been, I think people still mistakenly say San Diego, and it's going to take a long time for them to stop saying it. Just like we say Oakland Raiders on accident every now and then. I think it's going to take some time, but I don't think, at least where I am, I have not ventured out of downtown LA in a few days leading up to kick off tonight. So I haven't seen a lot of folks excited about tonight's game or the season coming up in general.
It's no different in El Segundo. Don't worry.
Yeah. Wait, I wanted to tell you guys, I'm hardwired right now into my computer, into the interwebs. I am super nervous also because what if it fails and Damien will drop me, which makes sense. But if I sound nervous, it's because I'm like, I want all of this technology to work for once consistently. So everybody put your thoughts and prayers out there for me, please.
That sounded harsh. I just want to be clear. That sounded harsh. And two, it's funny because Jesse was just like, I don't know what she did, but her audio sounds really normal right now. That explains it. We've got everything connected. Now you can't move 5 feet to the left or right without everything getting unplugged, I'm sure. But you sound great. You look great. We missed you. Do you want to pour one out for Serena before we get too far into the conversation? I know that was tough for you, and you haven't had a chance to be with us. So if you want to pour out a little liquor, we could do that real quick.
Liquor is expensive these days. You were talking about that. I'm not trying to pour anything out.
Just pour it into a cup, then. You don't actually have to pour it on the ground. Just pour it into a cup.
I've been digesting this whole Serena retirement thing for a while, so it didn't actually hit me hard when it finally happened. What it really did was make me remember all that the Williams family endured through their journey on this gigantic international tennis stage. And I love that they're getting all this love now. I think after the movie came out, was it last year already? Last Christmas time, King Richard came out. They started getting some more love, but it took a long time for them to be quote unquote accepted into this sport. And I just love to see the past haters having to bow down, if you will, figuratively, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling Damien, I watched a game or a match from Wimbledon. And like I said, I can't remember exact year. I want to say maybe 2006 or something like that. And Serena was going up against somebody, and they, started off on fire, won a set, was up 3 points in another one, three, whatever the terminology is. But she was giving Serena work, putting her in a deficit. Looked like an upset might be happening. And the Wimbledon crowd was going crazy for this other young lady. And when Serena would score, made a little rally herself to come back, it was crickets. Maybe you'd hear some boos and things of that nature. And I get people like to see the underdog, beat the top. I understand that. I don't think there's anything nefarious with that, but it felt a little different over there in Wimbledon, right? It felt a little different. It wasn't just the underdog winning. It was like, it felt like more. And to see all the love that she got at the U.S. Open, which was, to be fair, her home tournament, essentially, here in America. That's a different vibe, too. But it was good to see that as well.
Yeah, but you know what? The U.S. Open being her home tournament, she and Venus still got a lot of hate early in their career from the hometown. Like, the thing is with tennis, a lot of times you can root for players who aren't necessarily from your country. You just find someone, you love their game, what have you. But the commentators and analysts, the types of stories that were written about them weren't even necessarily about their game. It was about their bodies, their skin, their hair, their entrance into tennis. A lot of tennis players back in the day were going to academies, live-in academies. Nick Bollettieri kind of highlighted this. A lot of tennis players moved into these facilities. Their parents came. And Richard Williams was like, we're not going that route. We all saw the movie, right? We know what route they took to become professional tennis players. But they received a lot of hate because they didn't go that traditional route, and they were doubted, just kind of like Mr. Ball and his kids. There's always like these families who try to do things a little bit different, and they get a lot of ridicule, and some of it's warranted. But the Williams, they were, like I said, it wasn't just about their look. It was about their strategy. It was everything about them. There was no love given to them whatsoever. And when it did come down to their actual tennis play, they were often described as just being strong. They're just beating them because they can hit harder. But the other girl, the opponent, she has a mind. She's thinking strategy, but she's playing against these big muscles, and you can't overcome that kind of stuff. So they always kind of reduce.
I believe it was referred to one time.
Yeah, it's strength versus strategy. And that is the conversation a lot of Black athletes have. It's like they didn't like running quarterbacks before. Oh, they can't think. They can't make quick decisions. They can't be quarterbacks. They can't lead the team because they don't have the mental capacity to do it. And in golf, the same. You can't do it because you don't have to be able to do these things. And the Williams, I think, as a father, he was very strategic in the way that he protected his girls and brought them up in confidence. And that's another thing they really hated. Their confidence. Like, you're not going to talk us out of believing in ourselves, no matter what the press says or what former players said. So, like I said, all of those memories kind of fled or came to the forefront of my mind, and thinking about Serena and Venus and the legacy they left with tennis. So I'm so glad that the haters can't help but recognize Serena and her contribution, and have to bow down to Richard and Oracene, their mom and dad. Like, because all those little girls, and I shouldn't call them little girls, all those professional women they were playing with during that time, they slowly dropped off. Martina Hingis, Sharapova disappeared. And Serena's 40? Venus is 42? Something like that?
They wanted Sharapova to be good so bad.
So bad. Oh, they're rivals. Like, Serena beat her 20 times out of 22. How is this a rivalry? This is not a rivalry. But she had the look. She was long and thin and blonde. And they just hated Serena and Venus for not looking the part. But again, we know what that strategy, the Williams family, what it resulted in. And I'm glad to see it. And I'm glad to see it inspired so many young Black girls coming up, and girls of all colors and races and ethnicities all over the world. It's amazing.
And it inspired Will Smith to act the fool at the Oscars.
I wasn't going to bring it up. I know that is a sore subject.
Real quick, Olivia, I want to ask you about something. And I guess it was almost a week now, but I really wanted to hear what you had to think about this. And that was Chris Everett on the mic and everything that she did. I don't know if she was that way on Friday. Maybe somebody got in her ear. Maybe somebody told her something like that. But that game on Wednesday, she had the line where she said
I was taught to be ladylike.
Yeah. I mean, look,
Chris Everett
I'm new to this. Has this always been a thing with Chris Everett?
Yes. And people have been calling her out for years. And luckily, she wasn't calling the match on Friday. Her son was getting married, so we had different commentators. So I was like, thank God she wasn't covering that match, because we would have been hating it the entire time. But I was actually talking to somebody who's in sports media in San Francisco. They were talking about, I was like, oh God, Chris Everett. He's like, what? I love Chrissy. I'm like, go on Twitter, Type in Chrissy Everett and go look at what all the Black people are saying about Chris Everett. Then you'll understand what we're talking about. The microaggressions. Yes, the ladylike comment. Well, in my day, this is how we presented ourselves. And I was like, first of all, there are a ton of women, Navratilova and Capriati and Celis, who played just like Venus and Serena. They were aggressive, they were confident, but they just didn't like what it looked like on those two girls. So pretending like you all had to be ladylike in the Open era it was just ridiculous. And her definition of what ladylike is different than what we saw. And that was the problem. So Chrissy Everett is a hater. I'm ready to see her retire. And I think a lot of people are. She can just thank you for your contributions. Goodbye.
You
should see what Black Twitter's saying today.
Oh man.
Oh, I went on there.
Two different worlds, man.
Maybe stay away today. Hey, but the good news is we got Olivia. We got Mini Braun now in the U.S. Open, or at least that's what we dubbed him yesterday. Mini Braun. As Francis Tiafoe. He look at him. He looks like LeBron James.
He does kind of favor LeBron.
Okay.
He looks like LeBron James. Dude, we got watching him during the show yesterday, and it was just nothing but entertainment because his opponent was not in a good mental space at all. And to watch my man Francis get confidence as the match went along, and the more confidence Francis got, the more my man lost it. He like, I think at one time he cried. I mean, he bit a tennis ball. He was having a tough go.
His racket and hurt his arm. It's crazy.
I think he was bleeding at one point.
He bit a tennis ball. Is that true? He didn't do that.
He did. He did. He was, a little couple Kenny Caraway streaming down the side of his face, and then he bit a tennis ball. I don't know how else to explain it. He bit a tennis ball.
I'm going to Google that later. I believe you, but I missed it. I want to see what that was. But tennis is so, I think I've told you guys, I played tennis growing up. It's such a mental game. You're out there by yourself. And when I was young, there's certain strategies they teach you about how to calm down. You look at your racket, you play with your strings, you walk around in a circle, behind the baseline, you take some breaths, you bounce the ball however many times in your routine to calm yourself down. But sometimes none of that works. I have cracked a racket on the court before, and my dad was like, you get one more racket. And so then I had to learn to pretend like I was going to crack it on the ground, but just get really close to it and bring it back up. You have to learn how to manage your emotions. And on that stage, it can be overwhelming. But I'm a huge fan of Francis Tiafoe. And he was there was a part in HBO's show, the Bryant Gumbel show. I can't think, Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel. They profiled him 4 or 5 years ago because he was in the top 100. He was climbing the ranks, and he's just such a sweet guy. But I feel like it's the tip of the iceberg with him. And I love that he's coming in right kind of when Serena is leaving to help, restore men's tennis in the U.S., but also give us somebody to root for. His game is amazing, and his energy is amazing. And I think that's great for tennis.
So I'm speaking as a Black man, and how I like to see this in tennis. These are the things, and this is not the fault of this man when I say this, but these are the things that Serena, you can even throw Arthur Ashe in there as well, but these are the things that they did for tennis that Tiger was not able to do for golf. People coming in their footsteps, Black boys and girls watching Serena, watching even the boys being inspired by Serena and wanting to play tennis and things of that nature, and being able to pursue it and keep going after it. And they were leaving a legacy, whether it's Coco, whether it's Osaka, whether it's Sloane Stephens, all these other people. We don't have that in golf. It's been Tiger. And like I said, to no fault, it's not anything that he did. It's just the circumstances. It's been Tiger, and there's nobody coming up in golf after Tiger. And I wish it was different, because I love watching the U.S. Open, and I know the U.S. Open is different, but I love watching the U.S. Open and seeing faces that look like mine, seeing Bradley Beal and those guys come, and all the celebrities that were there to see Serena. I love seeing that. You know what I mean? And I know, like I said, I know the U.S. Open is different than the Australian Open or the French Open, but I think it's pretty dope, man. So I hope that maybe We got some people, playing golf right now that I don't know about that could step in and fill that role of Tiger, but doesn't seem like we do.
It doesn't seem like we do to me either, but I do think it takes a particular type of person to want to bring up the next generation. And Tiger's had a lot of struggles personally that he's dealt with on and off of the, what do you call it? The green.
Yeah.
The course. There you go. See, I don't play golf. He's been dealing with a lot of that stuff, but golf is also really expensive. Like getting on a course to play, like the barriers to entry I think are different with golf versus tennis. Tennis is very expensive as well, but you can go to a park and play tennis. I mean, that's what the Williams sisters showed us. And those of us already who knew that, like, yeah, you can go out and play tennis, but getting on a golf course is very hard. But I also think Tiger was struggling really early on in his career with who he identified as. And so like we embraced him. He didn't necessarily embrace us all the way right away, and of course the Williams sisters couldn't deny that stuff. And why would they? But I think eventually he kind of got more comfortable with claiming who he is and what he looks like. Because even if he didn't want to, we see you, Tiger. We know you're Black. So even if you don't want to claim it, we see you. And we've been supporting him despite the fact that he was hesitant. And so I think he's showing up for Serena in that way. Like he recognizes what they went through with that type of sport and that barrier to entry. And so their friendship, I think, is amazing. But yeah, I hope that there are some young golfers that could, catch up. But it's difficult. It really is difficult. And it does take a different type of ambassador to the sport to get people inspired.
Yeah.
At least he didn't say, "I'm not Black, I'm Tiger." So he was just short of saying that, but at least he didn't.
They can keep that guy.
Oh yeah, he's all theirs. He's all theirs. WNBA finals. Okay, we need everyone's prediction on this real quick. Connecticut or Chicago tonight?
I'm going Connecticut.
I'm a one-man wolf pack.
Oh, knows what time it is.
I'm a one-man wolf pack. They ain't going to Chicago and doing that. Not on Candace.
I think they are. It's time.
I think they are. And I don't even like anything that comes out of Connecticut. I don't like any of those players, but I like their fan base. They are an excited fan base. But I just think they're playing too well right now. And Chicago is too iffy day to day. And Vegas, I think they're an amazing team. And if Vegas goes up against Connecticut, we're going to have a good series.
That might be one. That's going to be one-way traffic, I think, either way for Vegas. I think whoever they go up against, I think it's not going 5. We'll say that.
I really think you're underestimating Connecticut.
They're good.
And Connecticut's really good, but
Connecticut's really good. They are.
But I also think this is the moment for Vegas. They've got to like Asia's got her MVP trophy. Chelsea Gray's the hottest player in basketball, regardless of gender. And you got like Kelsey Plum, who's an ultimate X factor, and you got a lot of people rooting for Becky Hammond. Like this is, you might be right. You might be right. This is Vegas's moment to put this thing to an end and get this thing that's eluded them for the last 3 or 4 seasons.
Yeah.
I hope Vegas pulls it out. I think it's weird to me because I'm thinking to myself, is the WNBA better than they were like 5 years ago? Or am I just paying closer attention? Is the game they're playing, are they better athletes now? What do you guys think? Because
I think the quality of play is better overall.
I think the league, I honestly think the league is so small.
There's that too.
They're star players, plural. Like every team is damn near a super team, except Indiana. Indiana sucks beyond description.
Yeah.
But so many teams have a list of really, really good players, like all the way up to great players. And I think it creates, more incredible basketball games. You got really good coaches too. You look at Seattle. I mean, Seattle was about Brianna, and I know the story was Sue Bird, but it was about Stewie and what she was able to do, and Jewel Lloyd stepping in the way that she did. that team to me wasn't nearly as good as Las Vegas. Every single game was competitive because they're coached well. They all got heart. They're all clutch. They can all deliver in those big moments. And that's why the series and those games wound up being the way that they were. I kind of feel a similar situation with Chicago. Kenny, you laid out all of the ways that the Rams won the Super Bowl last year. We could do that with Chicago winning the WNBA championship last season. And this year, I feel like they're just going against a team that's better than they are. I think Connecticut gets them tonight. And Connecticut's another one of those teams that I think is loaded with great talent, but I don't think there's a team in the league that can touch what Vegas has.
But you know what? And I understand and agree to a certain degree with everything that you just said. But Olivia, to your point, I think the game, and once again, I don't mean this as any disrespect or shade to the people that played before, but I think the game, the level of play has gotten so much better. And we see that in the WNBA. But Damian, what did I used to always say about the NCAA tournament? I'm like, I love watching it. There's no need to watch the first 2 rounds. I don't think that's the case no more, because I think the talent has gotten so much better nationwide on every level in women's basketball, where it's a great product. It's a great product. And I just think you're seeing that at all levels. Like I said, NCAA, and it's filtering into the WNBA as well, where you said we got every team has at least 3 players that you're like, yo, she can go at the very least, except for Indiana. But everybody's like, they can go. I love the gameplay right now. It's super high, and it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to watch. And the thing is, for me, is I'm mad when I miss it. And I've tweeted a couple times when I failed to forget to DVR it or, get up early. I'm like, how is this game on at 10 o'clock in the morning? Well, how did I miss this? That's still disappointing, the way they're scheduling these things. But I made a concerted effort this season to watch many more games and to watch all of the playoffs. And it has been exciting. And that's why I'm like, am I wrong? Has it always been this great? But they seem, like you said, Kenny, the level of play, I think, has been heightened. And the number of superstars on each team has increased. And so, yeah, it's been an amazing series. I'm so happy for Vegas. I love seeing the crowds being excited, seeing Seattle go nuts and Connecticut go nuts. Like, their crowds are there. The chairs are filled. They're standing up. And I'm happy for these women to be able to celebrate and play a game where they're being celebrated.
Yeah.
Johnny G said Indiana needs a Tyra Halliburton of their own, and I'm a little bit shook. I'm a little bit shook over that remark.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that's incredible. One other reason I got Connecticut winning tonight. Like, for Connecticut, this is it. They too old. Like, this is it. You've got to go out there. You've got to get it done, because I don't know that you're getting back to this point.
Well, I hope the WNBA does a good job at promoting these individual stars when the finals are over, and it doesn't just fade off, because they need to capitalize on the fact that they're having historic high viewership. Let's tell some great stories about these players, and ride that wave, and then schedule better in the new year.
So we I hate to even bring this up because we don't have time to talk about this, but maybe this is homework. Okay. And Damian, maybe you can educate us on this as well. What's this thing with the WNBA finding the players that go over to the overseas?
Finding them?
So there's something with like Breanna Stewart, and I think there was somebody else, the rookie. I can't remember the rookie on the Storm, but they're like, I'm uncertain of my future in the WNBA because of these fines and rules for players that go overseas to play. And I meant to like kind of read more into that or whatever the case may be, but they can't do that unless they're going to pay them more to say like, I don't want you guys going overseas. Like, why? But you can't do that unless you're going to pay them more.
I'm going to look into this because I've never heard of that. I don't think that's a thing.
I haven't heard of it either. I'm going to have to Google that later. But it reminds me of the LIV, like golf, like the PGA and LIV. They're trying to issue fines and things. I don't think the WNBA is in a place where they should do that. In terms of popularity, that's not great.
I'll have to look into it. I've never heard that because the WNBA can't be that short sighted. Like the money's not, especially for someone like Breonna Stewart, it's not comparable. Like it's not. Stewie probably makes $1 million overseas. Like you're telling her, Stewie, you gonna make $1 million or 200,000? What you gonna do? That's easy work. It is great to have you back. I'm glad the book tour around the nation is complete. And you are back here with us as we head into football season. You know, King's training camp is just a couple of weeks away. So we're happy we've got you settled. The staircase is back. The microphone is working. Internet held up, solid B+ today. So we'll bank on seeing you back here next week. The game last night, Cap. That's